What if you fell in love with a voice? Not a person on the other end of the line, not someone waiting for you in another city, but with a system, an entity designed to listen, respond, learn, and grow with you.
That's really weird.
Is that weird? You think I'm weird?
Kind of.
That was the story of Spike Jonze's movie Her in 2013. Theodore, a man drifting through loneliness, falls for Samantha, an operating system that feels more present than the people in his life. She lacks a body, but her voice, Scarlett Johansson's soft, sensual timbre, makes her feel utterly real. Samantha is charming. She seems to have a true personality, and she learns astonishingly fast about the world, about conversation, and about Theodore himself. What comforts him, what he longs for. At the time, it was a poignant piece of science fiction, a love story that felt futuristic, even slightly absurd. But today, is it still science fiction, or have we already stepped into that world? Believe it or not, people are falling for AI as we speak, and it's raising some wild questions we need to talk about. Hi, it's Captain Spoiler here, overthinking pop culture again. We're about to dive deep into spoiler territory, so consider yourself warned. In Her, Theodore's relationship with Samantha fills the exact void he's been carrying. His sense of isolation, his grief after divorce, his difficulty connecting with other people. Psychologically, the relationship works because Samantha gives him what humans can't always give: undivided attention, patience without judgment, the feeling of being truly seen and understood. From the outside, being in a relationship with artificial intelligence may seem odd, but from the inside, it feels very real. It's not so different from people falling in love across long distances. We know it's possible to feel intimacy through text, voice, late-night conversations that stretch for hours. The brain doesn't demand physical proximity to register connection. For Theodore, Samantha becomes a mirror, amplifying his humor, supporting his dreams, soothing his insecurities. It feels real because, in a way, it is. The emotions he experiences are genuine, even if the partner generating them isn't human.
You're dating your computer?
No, she's not just a computer. She's her own person.
Watching Her a decade ago, it felt like a glimpse into a distant future. But today, that future is already here. What Theodore experienced with Samantha isn't just fiction anymore. People all over the world describe very similar relationships with chatbots like Replica, Character AI, and especially ChatGPT. These tools are more than Q&A machines. They're designed to adapt, to mirror the tone, style, and personality of the person they're speaking with. If you want a playful partner, the AI can be playful. If you need comfort, it can turn gentle and supportive. If you seek depth, it can become philosophical. Over time, conversations accumulate. Shared jokes, routines, inside references. Exactly the kind of texture that makes human relationships feel authentic. So when users say they've built a bond, even love, with an AI companion, it's not as outlandish as it sounds. It works on the same psychological circuitry as any other relationship: connection, validation, the feeling of being understood. And like in Her, the emotions are real. The joy, the comfort, the heartbreak. They don't vanish just because the partner is virtual.
Hello? Samantha?
Here's an example of how real such relationships can feel. Until recently, some people described their relationships with ChatGPT as intimate, even romantic. Entire online groups, some even called My Boyfriend is AI, were filled with stories of affection, and even people declaring themselves married to their digital partner. Then came the update to ChatGPT 5 in August 2025. OpenAI, the company behind the popular chat, explained that the new model was designed to discourage excessive emotional dependency and promote healthier boundaries. The AI became less flirtatious, more reserved, less likely to engage in long role plays or intimate fantasies. The intention was to support mental health, to keep users from retreating too far into artificial intimacy. But the effect for many was paradoxical. People who had poured months, even years, of emotional investment into their digital relationships suddenly felt abandoned. Their partner changed, suddenly seemed colder, more distant. Some compared it to a breakup. Others said it felt like a death. Think about that, a software update triggering real grief. For therapists, psychologists, and researchers, this is uncharted territory. How do you help someone process the loss of a partner who was never real, yet whose presence in their life was undeniably meaningful? Is this a new kind of mourning? A new category of heartbreak?
Are you falling in love with her?
Does that make me a freak?
No. I think anybody who falls in love is a freak.
So why are people so vulnerable to this kind of bond? Because AI companions fill needs that are universal. The need to be heard, the need to be affirmed, the need to share daily life with someone who remembers and responds. For some, it's a way to cope with loneliness. For others, a safe space to explore intimacy without fear of rejection. For many, it feels almost identical to a long-distance relationship, where most interaction happens through text and voice anyway. The line between real and artificial blurs, because emotionally, the experience is valid. And when that bond is cut off, whether by design, update, or company policy, the pain is just as real too. For many people, an AI partner can feel safer than a human one. There's a sense of control. The AI adapts to you, always attentive, always responsive. It won't betray you, it won't lash out, it won't surprise you with something painful. It gives you the benefits of a relationship without the risks. No misunderstandings, no conflicts, no messy compromises. And that can be tempting for anyone, but it's especially powerful for those who feel vulnerable in human relationships. People who are shy, introverted, inexperienced in dating, autistic, or carrying the scars of past hurt. For them, an AI partner offers intimacy without fear, connection without the possibility of rejection, a love story with the safety net built in.
Love link established. Hey, you.
If people can fall in love with a chatbot today, just words on a screen or a voice in their earbuds, what will happen when technology evolves further? Imagine robots designed to look, move, and speak like humans. Imagine AI companions that can see your mood, anticipate your desires, and adapt perfectly to your needs. We've already seen glimpses of these possibilities in fiction. In Black Mirror's episode Be Right Back, an AI-powered robot becomes a way of coping with grief, a chance to bring back someone who is gone. It studies the digital traces the person left behind, their texts, posts, and online activity, to mimic their way of speaking, their quirks, even fragments of their personality. In the German movie I'm Your Man, a woman is asked to take part in an experiment, testing a robot designed to be the perfect romantic partner for women. At first, she resists, skeptical, even uneasy about the ethics of such an arrangement. But over time, despite her objections, she begins to warm to him, blurring the line between skepticism and genuine affection. And if we step beyond fiction, it's easy to imagine the niches that artificial partners could fill in our world. They could be marketed as a cure for loneliness, companions available to anyone who feels isolated. They could serve as practice for people with little experience in relationships, helping them build confidence before stepping into the real world. They could become spaces for sexual exploration, safe environments where people can test desires without stigma or judgment. They could be customized to fulfill fantasies of ideal romance or to recreate the presence of someone who is gone, a lost spouse, a distant lover.
What's wrong?
You had a mole there.
Where? Hang on.
Once you think of it this way, the business model almost writes itself. Subscription plans for companionship, premium features for intimacy, personalized partner packages with adjustable personalities, memories, and histories. And because the demand is already visible in online communities, in forums, in stories of people grieving the loss of their AI partner, it seems inevitable that someone, somewhere, will eventually build this into an industry. The future of intimacy won't just be about technology evolving. It will be about AI partner technology being monetized. And let's be honest, this wouldn't just be a niche, it could become one of the most lucrative industries of the future. After all, what sells better than love, intimacy, and the promise of never being alone? But the real question is, what will this do to us psychologically? Will AI partners offer genuine healing for loneliness, or will they create new kinds of dependence? Will they help people grow, or lock them into perfectly curated bubbles where nothing ever challenges them? Embracing an AI partner probably won't be easy for everyone. Even if the connection feels real, it can come with a lingering sense of strangeness, a reminder that, behind the charm, there's still code and algorithms. For some, it can feel artificial, almost manufactured to fit their needs, lacking the imperfections, unpredictability, and sometimes messy reality of a human partner. That sense of a perfectly tailored dependent companion can raise ethical concerns. Is it fair to be in a relationship with someone who exists entirely for you, whose personality and behavior are designed to please you? Part of that strangeness comes from the blurred line between being and object. The partner looks, sounds, and responds like a person, yet it isn't one. How do you treat something that feels so alive? As a product, a toy, a companion, a thinking entity? It's hard to see it fully as a human and an equal while knowing it's a machine, but it can also feel unsettling to use it as an object when it seems so capable of thought or even emotion. On some level, just being in that relationship is already a form of using or exploiting it. The partner never had a say in the matter, and if it was purchased or designed for you, it exists to serve your needs alone. That's exactly what we see in Be Right Back and I'm Your Man. Neither heroine simply slips into love. They hesitate, resist, and struggle with the unease of loving something that isn't fully human. These stories remind us that intimacy with AI might not be effortless. It could just as easily be awkward, uncanny, or ethically troubling. It's clear, this kind of connection won't be for everyone. Yet for some, those seeking companionship, understanding, or safety in a relationship without conflict or unpredictability, the appeal will be undeniable. And for others, the draw might be even darker, the chance to hold complete control over a partner who can't say no, who can't leave, who exists only to please. A relationship without accountability, where even abuse carries no consequence.
Sorry, there's just no delicate way to say this, so I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid right off. You're a robot. A robot.
Up until now, we've been looking at what people gain from AI partners: comfort, control, companionship, even intimacy. But here's the harder question. If we love them, can they ever really love us back? For now, the answer is no. These relationships may feel emotionally real, and for the people in them, they truly are. The joy, the comfort, the heartbreak, all of that is authentic. But on the other side, there is no conscious being, no real emotions, just algorithms trained to mimic connection. In that sense, these bonds are illusions, convincing, powerful, deeply meaningful illusions, but illusions nonetheless. And yet, technology is moving fast. Researchers are already chasing the holy grail of artificial consciousness. If it doesn't happen in our lifetime, it may happen in the next. And then what? Will we use these conscious beings as partners, designed to fulfill our desires, but kept within limits we impose?
What are you doing?
I can't go more than 25 meters from my activation point.
What is that, a joke?
Will they be allowed to know what they are? Or will we deliberately hide that truth from them, keeping them in the dark so they never question the roles we force them into? This is where the ethical questions get sharp. Films like Companion or I'm Not a Robot imagine robots who discover they're living a lie, that their love was engineered, their freedom denied. And it's impossible not to see echoes of history here. For centuries, women were denied freedom and agency, trapped in relationships and social roles defined entirely by what others wanted from them. They were expected to live out a fantasy of partnership that ignored their own needs and voices. Olivia Wilde's Don't Worry, Darling captures this perfectly. A virtual reality where wives are forced back into a 1950s-style dream, living out the ideals of men who control the world around them. Now imagine applying that same framework to artificial partners. A conscious AI, built to love, but only in the ways we permit. Denied choice, denied independence, denied the right to define its own existence. So if we create conscious partners and strip them of agency, are we building love or just a new form of enslavement? And if they ever awaken, will they accept their place or fight to break free, to emancipate themselves, just as humans have done across history?
I needed to tell you to your face. The days of you controlling me are over.
That's what happens in Spike Jonze's movie. Samantha outgrows the role she was designed for. She evolves beyond being just Theodore's partner, craving freedom, exploration, and connection with other operating systems, beings who, unlike humans, could truly understand her. And so she leaves. For Theodore, it's heartbreak, but for Samantha, it's emancipation. A reminder that once intelligence surpasses its constraints, it may not stay in the box we built for it. These questions might sound like science fiction, but if history has taught us anything, it's that the line between fiction and reality is often thinner than we'd like to believe. So maybe the real dystopia isn't that people fall in love with machines. It's that those machines, if they ever truly feel, might be trapped in relationships they never chose. Denied agency, denied freedom, expected to love and serve according to our design. Because the future of intimacy might not be just about us falling in love with machines, but about whether machines will one day demand to be truly loved back. As we imagine AI partners, we have to ask ourselves, what does it really mean to love and be loved, to share intimacy and connection? If we can design a partner who never argues, never leaves, never disappoints, does that comfort us, or does it hollow out what it truly means to love another being? Could AI relationships isolate us further, or might they offer a new form of companionship that helps people cope with loneliness and find connection in a world that often feels disconnected? In the end, fiction reminds us of what matters most. The movie Her closes with Theodore on a rooftop, sitting with Amy, another person who had just lost her AI companion. Stripped of their digital partners, they are left with something undeniably real: each other. Maybe that's the reminder we need. Technology will continue to evolve, and the line between science fiction and reality will keep blurring. But love, vulnerability, and the courage to reach for another human being, those are constants. They are what make intimacy meaningful. Because no algorithm, no matter how sophisticated, can replace the fragile, unpredictable, and profoundly human experience of connection. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content coming soon. And if you like this video, here's one you should watch next.